Chronicles TV on air. We are now live in 3, 2, 1.
Why did he appear through the back though? If you ran out of change, you wouldn't even have any light, let alone heat. For the needy, London's winter could be harsh. That's true, but if you think about it, even the wealthy could find themselves freezing if they ran out of small change. London winters can be harsh for the forgotten too. Frankly, I'm starting to wonder if Susato and I are going to make it to the spring. That's true, we don't even have a meter at Baker Street, let alone a gas stove. Look how dark the stain of the floor is underneath the meter there. Yes, from all the water dripping out of the ice coins melted as you established in court. It's a very large and obvious stain, isn't it? Mr. Shakespeare must have an awful lot of ice coins, I suppose. It was an ingenious idea, I'll give him that. Alright, let's go to the Garrett residence. So, 22nd February, Mr. and Mrs. Garrett's room. Mr. Garrett appears to be out. Oh well, I suppose we'll just have to come back again later. Alrighty then. Briar Road! Nope. Prison it is! Oh, Mr. Natsume is back. So he is. Mr. Natsume, hello. I am a cat. Sorry? I don't know who Mr. Natsume is or Herlock Sholmes. I don't know about courts or trials or Old Baileys. I am a cat. That's what I am. Just a cat. Mr. Naruhodo, he's trying to escape from reality. Trying to? He already has. Completely. So, what is your name then? As yet, I have no name. Mr. Naruhodo, he hasn't fully thought of his new identity yet. Maybe it's not too late to bring him back to reality. Do you think you could open your eyes for us, Mr. Natsume? I am not a cat. It worked! He's back in the real world. What's going to become of me? No! Don't answer that. It's obvious. My accursed soul is never going to escape this accursed fate. Mr. Natsume, no! This morning's proceedings in the court there's no hope. There's hope. There's no hope. Yes. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire was brilliant, but the Reapers are present in court, in my lodgings, here, there, everywhere. What's he looking straight at me for? I think perhaps there are some things we should discuss. Oh, yes, we must. Get to the point, Chief! In my whole life, have I ever been so moved as I was today? No! Of course, if I cast my mind back, there were perhaps one or two other occasions that moved me more. But if I just blocked those out, then today, being in that courtroom was in the most moving experience of my life. Look, I'm student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. You're too kind. Scotland Yard found the remaining tea, just as we had deduced, and are analyzing as we speak. There's nothing wrong with that tea. They won't find a drop of poison in it. That's a solemn, sworn, successful certainty. Tell me, did you both drink the tea at the same time that night? Oh yes, most definitely. Remember? Drink tea while it's hot. We both poured it down our throats like it was hot bath for our bellies. And at the time, you were both completely fine. As shown by the fact that he and Mr. Shakespeare then engaged in Romeo and Juliet match. I suppose the focus of tomorrow's proceedings is how the poison was taken by the victim then.
That rotten Shakespeare, what have I ever done to him?
You don't recall him taking issues with you over anything you've done recently?
I've been holed up in my room, immersed in books. I don't recall anything at all.
Right.
But what I don't understand is why he didn't let me know sooner.
Let you know what, Mr. Natsume?
About the soap, of course. What else?
Oh dear. Are you struggling with such meager stipend?
Of course I am. If I had money, I would have chosen to live in a cursed existence in such accursed lodgings.
Oh yes, you said it's because the place is cursed that it's so cheap, didn't you?
Exactly. Especially the room that I rent. The spirit of that capital offender who lived there still haunts the place. And it's trying to kill me.
Capital offender.
Might I ask locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire that next time you visit me, you bring scores of super soaps.
I have an idea. Mr. Natsume? It's nothing much, but...
It's been long.
Oh, this is nothing then. This is not... Actually... Maybe this? What's
this?
It's a newspaper cutting that we found in Mr. Shamspeare's room.
So he knew, did he?
Sorry?
About this man, Selden. A convicted killer, and the evil spirit behind the curse that afflicts my lodgings.
What? He's already taken
one young man's life, and now he's trying to take the life of another. A miserable mustache much Malay Japanese man.
Mr. Natsume, if you know something, please, you must tell us. Tell us everything you know about the evil spirit. The capital offender.
The truth is, I didn't know the details myself until very recently. The Selden man was arrested about a year ago now, and at the time he was hiding out in the lodgings at Mr. Garrideb's house.
What? He lived where you do now?
That's right, yes, exactly where I live now, in my very room.
Oh my, your room was previously occupied by a criminal found guilty of capital offense?
But before his sentence could be carried out, he died in prison. That was 3 months ago now. And that's when it started. The curse.
What really is the curse you keep mentioning, Mr. Natsume?
It's already caused one death. A few months after the criminal passed away in prison, a man died in the room. The man who rented it after Selden, in fact. The poor lodger, he was found dead in mysterious circumstance. The room was locked from the inside.
Locked from the inside? Exactly like the case we're dealing with right now. So that's a convicted curse, is it?
Yes. Well, that was the start of it.
Do you have any idea how the lodger before you passed away, Mr. Natsume?
The official cause of death was
whatever that means.
When they discovered the body, the room was full of gas.
Gas?
I only found out that after I signed the lease. When Mr. Garrido came to tell me later, I couldn't stop myself trembling. In fact, if I'd known beforehand, I'd probably have been too scared to take the room. Landlord's lease, luckily legal.
Lucky for Garrido, maybe, but not so lucky for poor Natsume. And now you believe this curse is affecting you.
It is at first. I just felt as though I was being watched all the time.
And then you talk about having nightmares, didn't you?
The dead are trying to take me with them. They come for me, so they try to suffocate me. Just when I'm struggling to breathe, I wake up, and the room is as cold as ice.
But why is your room so cold?
London's winters are too cold to bear without any heating on overnight. But for some reason, even though I'll light the stove before I climb into bed at night, the pilot light always goes out and the room fills with gas.
But that's terrible. That's exactly the same situation as what led to the previous occupant's death. And then there's what happened to Shakespeare last night when he was mysteriously poisoned. There's certainly that incident that can be explained by a curse, though. Whatever can cause all these strange happenings in Garrideb's room? I got nothing, Chief. There's something missing. No. I think we're missing something here. We had to go back somewhere. Yeah, I have no idea what they were trying to talk about. Is there something else that we need to present? Yep. We're supposed to look for something else. I have no idea what they were talking about. Let's see. That's exactly the same as to what the previous occupants said. And then there's what happened to Shams here last night when he mysteriously poisoned. There's clearly more to that incident than can be explained in the curse, though. Whatever can be the cause of all strange happenings in Gyarados' room? Nothing much, but it's been blah blah. You're too kind of blah. What was I trying to give you exactly? Whatever. Is he back yet? Oh, you're here now, Mr. Gyarados.
Right, Bally business is it for me, you know? Getting out and about.
Were you at the Old Belly by any chance?
Naturally, fate of my lodgings hang in the balance and all that, not a child to miss.
The fate of what's already been dubbed your haunted lodging, yes.
Course, the place was caused quite a stir around the capital more than one occasion already. As the old haunted lodgings, or some such.
Well, at least he knows.
Makes you wonder what the blazes is going on, don't you?
Yes, I'm sure it does. In fact, thinking back to Mr. Natsume's other trial just 2 days ago. You were at the Old Bailey then as well, weren't you? Testifying with your wife about what happened?
Stopped off at the prison on the way home, in fact. Beastly business.
I see.
So, what brings you to my haunted abode today, eh?
Get to the point. Mr. Gyarados, could I ask you to look at this photograph? Is that your son who's with you there?
No, not at all. He was a lodger here once. Duncan Ross was his name.
Duncan Ross.
A street photographer happened to be passing, so I asked him to take a shot. Just for kicks, really.
Was he by any chance the lodger before Mr. Natsume?
Yes, that's right.
Ah, the young gentleman who died in the room, mysterious circumstance. Just what Mr. Mustache was waiting for, one might say.
Yes, young Duncan lived in the room at the top of the first flight of stairs before the Japanese chap.
Would you mind telling us a little more about him? Your lodger?
Some fishy fella from the Far East and a failed actor chap of questionable character, eh? Yes, the house does seem to have become something of a magnet for rum fellows of late. Thanks to that volley curse.
The convict's curse, you mean?
Ah, heard the stories, have ya? Rotten scoundrel was arrested here, then the next chap goes in the room and he keels over. There was a woman who dropped dead just outside the street, not to mention the actor yesterday. Am I next, eh? Well, can't help but get the collywobbles, can ya?
When you say the woman who dropped dead outside on the street, do you mean Miss Green? Because Miss Green, who was stabbed by the knife, and Mr. Sheffer, who was poisoned last night, are both very much alive still.
Yes, well, so it's the blasted convict's curse, it seems.
Personally, I should be quite content with such lodgings. A bath, a toilet, a fireplace. A fascinating history. Why? It sounds like a lap of luxury. I'm not so sure about that.
Well, there's no bath or toilet included, and no fireplace either.
But you do look out for your tenants, don't you? By watching the rise and fall of the flames in your gas lamps here?
Yes, never hurts to keep an eye on things in case there are any mishaps of such like.
I think he had a mishap already, sir. Ha ha ha. That's not helpful, Mr. Sholmes. Heaven forgive me. A word just came to my lips.
Some fishy fellow from the far east.
Again? There's no need for that, Mr. Garridib. That's right. Mr. Natsume is no way fishy. He is undeniably peculiar, however. It is right that he took the back vacancy immediately after the previous tenant passed away.
Yes, that's right. I asked the estate agent to find someone and he popped up the very same day. Never come across a chap so keen for a place with a background, as it were.
I don't think it was the room's background he was keen on, so much as the cheap rent, actually. So, how long has Mr. Shamspeare been lodging under your roof?
That failed actor chap? Let me see. Oh, of course. Yes, it's been 3 months now. Quite sure of it.
Only 3 months. He's quite new here, then. And to what do you owe your certainty in that regard, Mr. Garridib, if I may ask?
Well, it was the Selden scoundrel as it happened.
Selden? The convict, you mean? Do Selden and Shamspeare have some kind of connection, then?
That convict chap, Selden, passed away in the clinic 3 months ago, you see. Some malady or other.
Yes, we seen the report from the newspaper at that time.
Well, it was only 3 days later the tragedian shown his face, the actor fellow.
Really?
Yes, I remember quite distinctively.
This world we inhabit, pray thee, thy lord, hear my request. I, the humble Shamspeare, do desire to take thy room on the middle floor, offer erewhile for rent.
Terribly sorry and whatnot, but that won't be possible. Already have a lodger on the middle floor, ground floor room vacant though.
Nothing can be made out of nothing. Let me repeat my will unto thee.
Those girls must be muffling her ears. The room on the middle floor is taken. It's ground floor or nothing.
Very well, we have an accord.
Glad to hear it. Welcome to Briar Road.
Lo, a Shamspeare dance to celebrate! He's after the money.
From what I heard in court today, sounds like the chap was thieving gas. And he was 3 months in arrears with the rent, too. Yes, the fellow was a bally player, all right.
Thank you for your candor, Mr. Garridib. We are almost grateful. By way of appreciation, allow me to say 1 or 2 words. Give me my robe, put on my crown. I have immortal longings in me. What's happened to you? Shakespeare, my dear fellow, one of his most famous lines. I wish to divulge my own learning of this subject, for I have turned to literature too, you know. Perhaps you could turn your attention to more apt lines, then.
Yes, Duncan Ross. Young chap was attending art school, hard to work to pay for it, mind. Moved into the middle floor room about a year ago, about that criminal Selden was arrested. Young students are always on the hunt for rooms with a history behind them.
A history of cheap rent, maybe, yes?
Yes, well, anyway, it was one morning about a month ago now. Hadn't quite worked on the old trick of watching the gas lamps to see what of my lodgers are up to at the time. So sadly, I was one of the tardy to discover what had happened. Smell of gas that alerted me. It was.
Ah, yes, cinemas with the smell of death.
Called the police straight away, of course, and the officer kicked the door off the hinges. But once we got inside, we all body collapsed.
Because of the gas?
Yes, room was full of it. No air at all. Stove must have gone out while the poor chap was sleeping in his bed.
So Mr. Ross suffocated to death?
Of course, the police gave me a sound ticking off because the gas pipes were so old and all that. Can't tell you how much it sent me back to have the lot replaced all over the house.
But even after you had all that work done, Mr. Natsume says the same thing. If the stove gas goes out at night while he's asleep in bed.
Well, that's the bally curse. The convict's curse. I've done my duty as a landlord now.
Someone's feeling defensive.
Ah, that reminds me, actually.
Yes?
About young Duncan, the night before the chap perished. He'd been writing a letter of affection to a young lady.
A love letter, you mean?
Yes, whether did I put it now? Ah, here it is, left on my desk.
If you'll excuse me, let me see now. What does it say? To my most beautiful and charming sweetheart. Do you think that we should be reading such a personal piece of correspondence? My dear Mr. Sato, this is precisely why I preface my reading with, if you'll excuse me. I will not excuse you, Mr. Sholmes, no!
Sadly, he didn't address it though, so I have no means of delivering the thing. Rather sad, really.
I see. That's going to play on my mind. I have an idea. But really, the identity of Ross's sweetheart has no bearing on the case. I think we should leave well alone. Yes, I suppose you're right. Indeed, the intended recipient address is missing. However, there is a name attributed to the man's most beautiful and charming sweetheart. Mr. Sholmes, please, I've already had to chastise you about this once. My undying love to you, my colorful darling, Olive Green. Olive Green? The woman who was plunged into the coma after a knife plunge into the back outside the house 5 days ago? The victim in the last Soseki case was in court for who green blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. We already know who that is. Now let's get on going. Reading personal correspondence can have its merits, you see, Mr. Sato. Ah 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 ah. Alright, pip pip, cheerio and all that whatnot. Let's get the heck out of here. Back to the hospital bed. Mr. Naruto, I just finished speaking with the doctor. It seems Miss Green is well enough to be discharged at last. This is good news, but hopefully just before she leaves. Ah! What is it? Miss Green! What was that? She clearly just hit something behind her back. One moment, I'll be with you in a jiffy. Oh, hello everyone. What are you all doing here? The doctor has said I can be discharged, so I'm just getting my things together. Miss Green, what were you just doing? Oh, nothing, really. I was about to take some medicine the doctor prescribed me for, that's all. Well, we were hoping to have another quick chat with you, if that's alright. I don't really have anything else to tell you. Alright, she's definitely behaving strangely. But let's see if we can coerce something out of here. Did we not have the said thing? Oh, well, we present this. Miss Green, we were hoping to ask you about someone. Mr. Duncan Ross. You knew him, didn't you? The poison! Oh no, I'm sorry. The bottle of medicine fell when she did. Miss Green, are you alright? I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to startle you like that. No, it's alright. I just wasn't expecting it. But how do you know about Duncan? Mr. Ross had been writing a letter when he passed away. The landlord found it in his room. It was a very personal letter to you. It was at the art school. That's where I met Duncan a year ago now. He was working to fund his studies. He dreamt of becoming a professional artist one day. And the two of you became romantically involved? Yes, that's right. We were very much in love. We were engaged to be married, actually. That's why he decided to move into a cheaper room to save money for the wedding. And that's led him to Mr. Garridibs. Yes, he told me he found the worst but cheapest room in the entire East End. And then, 1 month ago, that's when it happened. We're so terribly sorry, Miss Green. Well, it's all in the past now, I suppose. Poor Miss Green. She looks desperately sad. I was starting to think that just her look. But now I see that she has every reason to feel the universe is against her. It's wonderful news that you're going to be discharged, Miss Green. Oh yes, I mean, thank you. Once people are better, the hospital staff don't want them lingering and wasting space. Not people like me anyway. So I don't think I should keep anyone waiting. I probably shouldn't stand around and chat. She certainly doesn't seem to be in the mood to talk. That's for sure. I do hope you won't think I'm being rude, but... Would you mind leaving me in peace now? I have to leave the hospital soon. Oh, I'm so sorry. We didn't mean to hold you up. Of course, we'll be on our way. Mr. Naruhodo? Surely you're not about to leave? That's quite out of the question. Oh, please don't tell me what I think he's doing. What, Mr. Jones? I didn't realize you were here. But of course I was, my dear fellow. Watching intently from the shadows as always. Well, make your presence known next time. Mr. Sholmes, what's this about? Something which occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Sato, is this. Why do detectives insist on such ex post facto modus operandi? Why solve a case after it happened, instead of preventing a case before it happens? That is what sets a great detective apart. What do you mean? There's a case waiting to happen under our very noses, Mr. Naruhodo. So let's avert disaster. Let us prevent this case from ever happening, with nothing but careful observation. Alright. All the clues you need are set before you. You need only look. You cannot fail to see. You can do it, Mr. Naruhodo. I know you can. What are we talking about, Chief? We only have this. Could you just hold that there for a moment? Don't move. Sorry? No, the aesthetics are all wrong. Is it wrong that I feel so thoroughly rejected? What am I doing? I feel like we're missing clues. What is going on? What are we presenting? I don't get it. The rat! That mouse seems to be dead. Look, I didn't notice it there before, did you? Think it drank the medicine that spilled out of the bottle? But that's the bottle that Miss Green was about to drink from when we arrived. You don't think... Ah, I see you've come to appreciate the true nature of the scene. That of a tragedy about to take place. Yes, I think it's falling into place. Miss Green, that contents of the bottle you had before has spilled out on the floor. And the poor mouse that drank it has sadly died. I think it's clear that bottle must have contained powerful poison. Who gave you that? Don't worry. I will attend to the mouse presently. Mr. Mouse! Give it to Wagahai, please. Miss Green, were you intending to go to the same way as the rodent? To take your own life? Once we left, you would have put in your lips again, wouldn't you? And taken the poison? Miss Green, please talk to us. Ay. It definitely feels as though this card must be relevant. I mean, we were first to arrive. Miss Green was standing with it in her hand, in what can only be described as a very tense atmosphere. Yes, it may very well be related to whatever incident Mr. Shelms believes was about to happen here. Perhaps we should ask Miss Green about it.
No, back it up.
Yo! 10 seconds later, and we could have arrived at a very different scene here. In all probability, we would have not enjoyed this most delightful conversation. Of course, perhaps it hasn't been quite so delightful from your perspective, Miss Green. Actually, in a way, now that everything's out in the open, I feel like a weight has been lifted. Tell me, how did you acquire that medicine? Well, with this being a hospital and all, when the doctors come to examine me in the mornings, he always leaves the medicine cabinet open for a while, so I snuck it out when he was looking. And it conspicuously lacks a label. I wonder what it contains. I'm afraid I don't really know, but I thought if I drank it, it might just stop the pain somehow.
Of your heart?
Oh, please, Miss Green. Don't talk of such things.
Well, it seems clear now that it contains poison.
Yes, that poor little mouse is proof of that. No, it's all my fault. What have I done?
I shall remove this to my office, Miss Green. I take it you have no objection?
No, none. Neither the sender's name or address appears to be written on the envelope of the card. Yo, it's a thing! It arrived by post at my home the day before the incident that put me in the hospital here. I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on the 17th. Don't tell anybody else about this letter of the meeting. It is a matter of utmost importance. Wait a minute. The 17th of this month? That's the day you were stabbed on Briar Road. And 5 p.m.
It is precisely the time when the incident occurred. The Slug and Salad, yes. A pub on the northern corner of Briar Road.
Briar Road, being the street that Mr. Garrett's house is on. Does this mean that... Yes, I'm sure you've guessed. That day when I was struck in the back by the knife, I was actually on my way to the Slug and Salad. Goodness.
So that's what you were doing on Briar Road that day.
I'm sorry I didn't say anything before. I think I really will have to ask you to excuse me now. I've told you everything.
Yes, I'm very sorry to have had drag up such painful memories for you.
No, it's fine. Miss Green. Please, promise us you won't try to do anything like that again. Yes, don't worry. Your detective friend has the bottle now anyway. And besides, I've been stabbed in the back and had a close shave with a bottle of poison. And I'm still here. I think I'm destined to see things through to the end. It might sound a little conceited, but well, that's how all this has made me feel.
Back to the prison we go. Leaving Miss Green and St. Bartholomew's behind, we made our way back to Baker Street with Mr. Sholmes. Well, it would appear we've reached the end of the investigative trial for today. Yes, it's late. And Mr. Naruhodo, did you discover anything that may be used to you in the courtroom tomorrow, do you think? Details about Mr. Shakespeare, Mr. Garrett's lodgings, the convict, Selden. There are many facets to this case, and we're yet to see the heart of it, if you ask me. It's my feeling anyway.
I can't help wondering about the result of the analysis.
Into Mr. Natsume's tea, you mean?
Yes, will they have found the poison in it or not?
Well, I fear that either way, it will be hard to escape the grip of our friend, Mr. Reaper.
Oh dear.
Yes, Barak von Zykes. I wish you every success, of course, and though I was late to the rise of the morning, tomorrow will be a new dawn. I intend to spring from my bed at a crisp hour and attend the trial.
Mr. Sholmes, you're going to come? Indeed, whatever happens, I shall be there, as long as my allies cooperate in the morning. Well, I think we've done all we can. All that's left is to remain focused and keep fighting for Natsume's cause until the very end. London, the world's most prosperous city, home to some 6 million people. Some? But away from the razzle-dazzle down back alleys and behind brick-up windows, the lonely lurk. So Seki-san had battled long and hard with loneliness during his many months here, and so I felt honored bound to battle equally hard for my compatriot to lift the curse that gripped him. As Mr. Sholmes says, tomorrow will be a new dawn for all of us. With that, we'll end the episode right here. Like, comment, subscribe. Chronicles XTV, and I'm signing out.